Today I'm going to be getting into a medium length hairstyle. This is for a lot of you who are planning to grow your hair out during this time if it's hard for you to find a barber. This hairstyle is going to be very simple to perform and also really easy to wear. Notice how it layers down really nice and naturally. I'm going to show you guys how to get this one done. Here's a little 360 of what the mannequin looks like beforehand. Notice how it just kind of savagely grown out. All right, so let's get into some tips and some explanation here. I'm gonna freeze this frame just to show you. Notice how my comb is placed on top of the ear on the side of the mannequin's head. This is gonna show me, as much as possible, a 90-degree angle from here to here. And then notice with the apex, it creates a section that leaves a gap where my finger is, kind of from here to here. So this area here is gonna show me that this is where the parietal ridge lies. And that's important because this is where I'm gonna be making sure that I section my video here. So what I wanna do is, based off of this knowledge, I wanna create a section from here to here, and then from here to here. Separating the top because I'm going to be working in a square layer on the side panels as well as the top angles as well. So what I want to do is show you that the top here is, the head is naturally round. So what I want to do is I want to alter that shape so it falls in a little bit more of a layered shape. What I want to do is later on I'm going to pull the hair all the way upwards. At a horizontal square shape right here. So all the hair will be going directed upwards here to this line. This is called my expanded shape, meaning that when the hair is fully upwards, this is the shape that it will be at. Okay, and this is very important for layering. It's a very basic layer to understand. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the side too. So the panel over here in this area, this part of the head is also round. We are going to make it square on both sides. So this is relevant to both sides. All the hair from the side panel will be going straight out to this 90-degree line on the right side, as well as the same thing on the other side on the left side. And what that's gonna do is actually gonna allow the hair to fall in a layered motion, meaning that the hair will fall down this way and then longer to the bottom as it gets all the way down. So it'll look a lot softer while still maintaining that square shape. So let's go ahead and throw in all of my sections. I'm actually gonna be doing a lot of panel work here. I'm gonna have about 4 panels or maybe 5 panels. And this is just gonna allow me to separate all of the different areas and the different surfaces of the head. And I just wanna stay organized as possible. It's always about organization with me, making sure you don't miss any hairs. And if you're wondering what I'm doing to section here, I just wanna recommend that you go back into my channel and view my video titled How to Section Like a Pro. I actually go over this exact section within that video. So if you want to refer to that, you can see exactly how I achieve this section. I will be using different points of the head like the parietal ridge, using fixed points of reference like the ears, as well as the O-bone and the apex. So if you're not familiar with these terms, guys, I would like to think that by now you're getting an idea of what lingo and jargon I use within these videos. So it's really important for you to understand these terms, not just for you, but also in order for your clients to understand their head shapes as well to better perform whatever hairstyle they request. So here it is, fully sectioned this hairstyle in order to be able to cut as much of it as accurately as possible. I'm just gonna take the bottom and I'm gonna set my length and I'm gonna make sure that it's straight all the way across. I'm trying to create a square shape to the back so that the hair falls a lot fuller. And then I'm gonna proceed to layering it later. So this is gonna be setting the length of this hairstyle. For this back panel, I wanted to show you, if you've already referred to my previous YouTube video on sectioning, how to section like a pro, you did not see the section that I created here. All I did was I took that back panel and I split it in half just above the O-bone here. And what that does is it gives me a flat canvas to be able to draw this section from here to here in a horizontal square shape. What that's gonna do is gonna allow me to work with all the hair within this region here without working with too much hair and over directing where I don't want to over direct. So all I'm simply going to do to start this is I'm going to take a section in the very middle of the back of the head, kind of like the center profile section, but towards the back. So I'm going to create 2 lines on each side, on the left and the right side of center. And this is going to be my guide section. Okay, so it's very important that we cut this at a 90-degree angle. You notice here when I actually go with tension, I am going all the way outwards at this 90-degree angle, making sure that I keep that as straight as possible, as well as the tension from the hair from the base all the way out to where I cut. Now we have 2 panels that we've created by splitting this down the middle. We have 1 and 2 on the back panel here. So we're gonna start with section 1 within this back panel. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the hair as a whole, making sure that I comb forward and back to get as much tension as possible. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna over direct all this hair into that center guide, okay? And this is what it looks like right here. Notice how I have this hair coming from here all the way to center. I have the hair from here coming all the way to center, all the way from here coming to center. As much hair as my fingers can hold is as much as I'm going to grab, making sure that I have tension. If I was to grab the hair in this region here, I would not have tension. So you want to make sure that you only grab as much hair as your fingers can actually hold. Okay, so the tension points within your finger most likely come between just under that second knuckle all the way to maybe just below the fingertip. Okay, you should not be cutting within this area, hair within this area here. This is a no area because there tends to be gaps here, okay? And that will make less tension within the hair, and you might be over directing or not over directing as much as you would like to. And then we're simply gonna repeat the same on the other side, as you'll quickly see as I restart the video here, making sure that basically we maintain this square shape from here to here. And as I'm doing this section, I just want you to notice that if ever I'm doing a cutting section, majority of the time it's going to be the width of a comb, and that will allow me to not over direct hair in ways that I don't want to over direct it. I'm also going to be using a hair clip in order to clip the other side down, so I know that I'm not going to be cutting the hair that I don't want to cut as well. Every hair counts, guys, so make sure that you're being disciplined in all of these sections to make sure that you are consistent so you don't miss anything, so this haircut remains balanced. Notice how I'm also not affecting the bottom. I'm not letting my fingers cut down to the bottom because I've already set the length. If you do that, you might make a new length, and it's like making a new guideline with your clippers. You don't want to go back and do more work. So just make sure you realize where you have cut and where you haven't cut. So I'm going to take the above panel, which is still the radial section, which went from ear to ear. And I'm actually just going to repeat this process because I can't hold all this hair at once. You're going to see me break this up into 3 sections vertically. This is my first section here. I took the top hair and I laid it upwards. And then I'm continuing with my guide underneath from the center profile to the back that I created previously. Now I'm going to take my second section. You notice how the top does not have enough tension, so I won't be cutting it fully. I'm just going to reset. And I'm going to make sure that I pull it 90 degrees. You look at the very top there, that angle is still 90 degrees, and pulling it out to the side is still 90 degrees. And then over directing all the hair into that center part, making sure that I create that square shape all the way through, and making sure as much as possible I leave as much tension as I do on all sides. So what this is gonna do is hopefully create a symmetrical look behind the ears so that when it falls either in front of the ears or behind the ears, it still looks the same on both sides. Now the hair to the bottom, some of it might have fallen down on top to create weight on my line at the bottom. So I'm just gonna touch this up again by going with the same square shape using the guide I created before. And this is me flipping it upside down to show you how square it actually is. So let's get working on the side panel. It's very important that you take a piece of hair from the panel in the back, and this is gonna be my guide, okay? So since this hair is already cut, we're gonna use this to make sure that the side, as much as possible, if it's close to the same length, we're gonna be able to cut it so that it blends into the back nicely. So my guide is gonna be on my left side here, as you can see. Now I'm gonna be over directing all of that hair into that guide, just like I did the back panel. Cutting it at a 90-degree angle. And then again, checking to make sure that all the hair is in fact square all the way across. You gotta make sure you watch your positioning. And let's repeat this to the other side. Be very, very particular with how you section. It's really gonna help you stay organized and remember what you have cut, and so you don't recut hair where you don't need to, okay? So now that we're on the other side, my guide is going to be on the right, as you can see here, and everything else is excess. So I will make sure I cut this at a horizontal or square angle, and then over directing all the hair from the front to the back so that the hair from the front travels a little bit longer when it layers. Just as the head rounds around the temple area, we're still gonna have enough hair to play around with in the layer when we go and blow dry it later. So the last panel we have is at the top. The top is quite simple. I'm gonna take about 2 inches from the top panel and connect it to my side panel. I'm gonna do that with a vertical section, and this is me performing this here. I'm gonna make sure that I take a guide from underneath from the side panel, and I'm gonna pull out from a 90-degree angle. So I'm looking underneath for my guide and making sure that I cut it at a 90-degree angle on both sides. What this is gonna do is continue the layer all the way through the top, and as the hair falls downwards, the hair will slightly get shorter and shorter so that you can see a lot of layers within it, and you'll see it a lot better when I dry it. So just hold on to that for a second and make sure that you're going through each of these steps and not skipping any and not trying to go too fast. Take your time with this, and that's how you're gonna get as accurate as possible.
I think you should talk about how you should only cut when you see a guide, like don't cut.
Okay, I'll do that for this next part.
Yeah.
I have a lot of time in the next one, so.
Yeah.
All right, so now all we have to work with is the very top. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a center profile section. So I'm gonna take a vertical line, and I'm also gonna make sure that I connect the back panel, and that's gonna be my guide. And it's very important when you're working with scissors and sectioning that you understand if you do not see a guide, do not cut the hair. Unless you see that guide nice and clearly and you're confident, make sure that you're not guessing on whether the guide is there or not. You should be able to see it. And if you did not, there's a good chance that you're not over directing like you should, or you're not cutting at the angle that you should be cutting at. So make sure that you're consistent with the way that you pull the hair, and keep in mind in your head, make a checklist of where have I cut and where haven't I cut. And you can tell where your guides will be coming from. They will be coming from where you already have cut. From the top, as I said earlier, we're gonna make a square shape, but I'm just gonna connect all the remaining hair to the outside by creating that square layer. I split the hair down the middle just to make sure that any excess hair doesn't exceed the hair on the sides. I wanted to layer in this square shape, and this is the point, 90 degrees, where the hair will stop. Finally, I'm going to show you how I attack the top, and this is the only time that I'm going to be working in multiple horizontal sections. Keeping the top split down the middle, I'm gonna go again with the width of the comb and creating about 4 to 5 sections from the back to the front. making sure I don't affect the hair in the back panel. I'm only working off of that radial section in front of it on top of the apex. And I don't need to affect the hair on the parietal ridge. I just need to affect the hair about 2 inches from the center part. So if the hair falls, that's perfectly fine. You can see I have a point A and a point B guideline where I will be cutting. All I have to do is complete it with my square shape. Once you are finished a section, I want you to make sure that you practice combing it away. Get it out of there so you know you're already done with it, and then work your way to the front. If you notice, each time I make a cut, you can see that I lay the hair backwards to where I've already worked until I get to the very front, which you can expect is gonna be less and less hair, but it is in fact still gonna remain its square shape. And I think it's very important to see that I'm also cutting between my second and third knuckle. I'm not going from my first knuckle near my palm. Remember again that tension is very important to make sure that you have the full length of the hair visually, and connecting those point A to point B guidelines that you created from the 90-degree angles to the side, as well as that first center profile section towards the middle. All we're doing is we're connecting the dots, guys. Very simple. All right, there you have it. So I've completed majority of this hairstyle. I just want to show you quickly. If I flip it upside down, in the very center, anyway, you can see that the hair is even all the way through. Even if the hair is a little bit curly, it's gonna bounce up a little bit, but look at that square shape really quickly. It tells me that I've directed my strategy in the right way in order to perform this hairstyle to the best of my ability. So let's just give this a quick blow dry. I'm not gonna practice my regular blow drying techniques because this is a mannequin. The mannequin doesn't feel any pain, so I'm gonna go directly to the scalp and I'm just gonna get this dry as quickly as possible for you guys. I had a quick request. I actually use this product from Canada called Balance. I'm using its clay, and when you're working with clay, what I want to do is show you guys how emulsified it should be. You shouldn't see any of the white in your hands when you go to apply it to the hair. If you do, all of that white is gonna show up on the hair itself. And you can see quickly my hair is actually grown out. This is the last haircut that I got, grown out about a month now. So what I wanna do is show you different ways that I style it. I like to wear it more loose, but with texture. Sometimes I like to add a little accent on the fringe just by adding a little bit of a hook. But for the most part, guys, this is my haircut. I hope you enjoyed it. This is definitely something that is the fundamental basics of cutting scissor work. So if you want to get creative one day, make sure that you get your fundamentals down. And we'll see you next week. Everybody stay safe.